Welcome back to Amberg Acres, folks. Barb went away for 5 days, so it's my turn to get into some trouble here while she's gone. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a culvert under this driveway here. Every year we have an issue with this driveway. There's no culvert under it, so the water comes down the ditch and just basically flows right up into the driveway here, and this turns into a big mud hole. By putting a culvert under there, it'll let the water flow underneath, and then hopefully there won't be as much water sitting on top here to saturate all this mud. And then the phase 2 of this project is going to be putting a swale here on this side of the driveway so that all the water coming from the yard up there comes down and goes to that culvert. If that goes pretty good, then I want to do one on the other side of the driveway too, so that the driveway is elevated more than the sides, and then the water should run off into that ditch. Basically, it's not going to be a big ditch. It's just going to be, a couple inch swale, for the water to run in, and hopefully that'll solve some of this problem. And then I got the stone delivered. That came, oh God, you can see it up there on the hill, right up there. That came, probably 2 weeks ago already. So what I'd like to do is at least this bottom half of the driveway up to, I don't know, what would that be, 50 feet maybe, is put some of that stone down, so that helps also that we're not driving into mud all the time. And we'll see how far I get, how far and how long this takes to put this culvert in. I don't think this culvert's going to be too bad. It's an 8-inch culvert. It measures about 9.5 inches. It's a double wall, what they call a double wall culvert. I would imagine then that the inside diameter is 8 inches and the outside is whatever it is, But yeah, so we're going to get started here. We're going to start digging. And I called Digger's Hotline. The only thing they came and marked the electrical line that we had put in last year there. Underground wire for the electric to the barn. Otherwise they have nothing else. They didn't mark anything here in this ditch. I know that, I want to say it's almost 5 to 10 years ago, and I don't know what they put in there. I wasn't here, we weren't living up here at the time, so I don't know what they put in there, but they dug a trench and they put something in there. They sent the Digger's Hotline, you call them, and they send out messages to like Brightspeed is one of the cable companies up in the area, charter.net, WPS is the electric company, and AT&T might have been on the list, but they have a whole list of names that they send out your map of where your property is and whatever, and they take that and they send it out to those companies, and then them companies determine whether or not they have something in the area. So everybody came back with that there's nothing in this area. So I don't know what they buried there 10 years ago, but when I had the power line put in last year, the guy that did that said that there's something down there 4 feet down. So if it's 4 feet down, I ain't gonna get close to it anyhow, but I just don't understand why somebody didn't come out and mark that, But anyhow, this is the date I gave them, so I'm gonna go ahead and start digging. I'm pretty sure I ain't gonna hit nothing, but just so you know, I did call Digger's Hotline. Okay, so we're gonna get started here. We're gonna get digging. All right, so I dug this by eye, and then I took the shovel and I smoothed it all out, and I set the pipe in there, and I wasn't bad on this end, but I was way down below the grass over there on that end over there. So I went and got the transit. I set it up on that end. I'm about 1.5 inches, 2 inches there. I'm a little over 2 inches down there. So I think I got that pretty straight. So I think I got it pretty straight enough for the water to flow through. So I'm going to shovel in some gravel because there's no gravel underneath that middle part right there now. I'm going to shovel in some gravel by hand, and then we're going to get the tractor and fill it in. And then what I want to do is on the ends here, I want to put go get some rock over there, you know, medium-sized rocks, and just put it around the end there so that can't, you know, so you can kind of tell where you got to drive, basically. And then smooth some of this out. I started doing it down there on the other end. Smooth some of the ditch out there, make it look nice again, plant some grass, and so that's what we'll do. So let me get this stuff put away, and I will get the tractor going in a minute. All right, so we got that put in. So I'm going to clean up this end here a little bit, straighten out the ditch a little bit, and then I'm going to go get some rock. I'm going to just kind of smooth it out like I did over here on the other end. So I just kind of tapered it off here a little bit, and I'm going to dump some bigger rocks right there to keep that from washing away. And then I'll fill this all in and smooth this all out, and I might make that ditch go a little deeper there. It looks like it needs to be just a little deeper, and then smooth it all out so it's nice, so I can mow it, and it'll be back to normal. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing on this end here. I just gotta do, you know, clean that up a little bit, and then this here, I want to dig this down and make a swale all the way up to that corner up there where those trees are, you know, so that the water runs off the driveway and then comes back to this culvert. That's the plan. So I'm gonna go get some rock, and we'll see how that goes. I went and robbed my secret stash of beautiful rocks, fieldstone, and just kind of pile them on here. So this does a couple of things. It keeps this from washing down, basically, and it also gives you a visual, like when we're pulling in with the camper and stuff, that you see these rocks here, you know you got to stay away from there, basically. I did the same thing down there by the wood yard when I put that culvert in down there, and that's when I'm backing up with the trailer, that's what I can see is those rocks sticking up. And that's how I know where to turn my tire to get where I want to be. That should be okay. Now I got some of that other rock over there, so I'll probably dump some of that on here too, and let that fall in the bottom here. I think I'm gonna go get a scoop of that rock and see what that looks like if I dump that on top of there. So we'll just shovel this down a little bit and smooth it all out so that it's tapered, and fill that in around the top of that rock there. And then if that sinks or whatever a little bit, I can come back and I can put more stone there. And I think that's good for right now. That'll keep that from washing away. So now we just got to repeat that for the other side over there. All right, so I got this one done, and I had to go down the ditch a ways there to kind of even it out and get, because I think I'm a little low here yet still, but whatever, it'll work. It's pitched, so it'll work. So the next step is I'm just going to go up this here and cut this, kind of push some of them smaller trees over there, and just kind of make a little ditch there. You know, enough that you can still mow it and stuff, just like what we got here. And then just so that the water flows off the driveway and into that culvert. That's next step. So we're gonna get going on that in a little bit here. So this might look a little crude at first, but all we're trying to do is get a pitch off the driveway, away from the driveway. And then we'll build up the driveway a little bit with some sand and then some stone maybe on top of that. And that way the water will run off and out to the ditch that way. Right now nothing's running off. It's all coming right into the driveway and sitting in the driveway. So I mean, right now I'm just roughing it out, taking out these little trees here, and then I'll come back and try and smooth it out afterwards. So hopefully you see what I'm doing here. Just making a swale. We'll be able to mow at least this side of it here. Make it grass. And then that on the other side there can we could mow it probably, but we could just let it grow and grow whatever grows, you know, weeds, whatever, little trees. Mow it once a year, you know, like I do the other ditch out here. Once or twice a year I mow it, and that's it. So you get the idea. So I'm gonna get myself all the way up to these trees here, and I might have to cut some of these trees down right here. Let me turn you around quick. So right here I might have to take, I don't know, 3-4 of those, you know, 4-inch diameter trees right there, just so that I don't want to change the driveway too much. So I'm gonna have to at least take these two for sure in the front here. Maybe those 2 little ones. And I don't know about that 3rd one back there behind it, but we'll see when I get that far, okay? All right, guys, we got her all done. So it's got a nice slope pitch all the way down to the drain down there. I need to clean it up a little bit. I'll rake it out when I do put grass seed down. I'll rake it out a bit, and that'll smooth it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Once the grass and the weeds grow, you ain't gonna see the unevenness anyhow. But yeah, a rake on the back of the tractor or something would be nice. And maybe I'll try to drag tomorrow. if I start down there and come and drag this whole area here, you know, that might work, you know, to smooth that out a little bit before I put the seed down. But yeah, I came up here to this corner where these trees were. So I took out a bunch of trees, 3 or 4 little ones there. No big deal. So I'm gonna clean them up tomorrow, and then I got a big root right there, big root sticking up. I gotta get him cut. Some of these roots right here I gotta cut, you know, so you're not hitting them with the lawnmower. And then this one here also needs to be smoothed out a little bit. But the idea is everything up there is high, so the water runs down this way. So when the water got here, it couldn't go any further because it's higher here now. So it would just back up here into this driveway area, into the lawn, and this would be just a big puddle. So hopefully now the rain will come down and be able to get in this ditch and go all the way out to the road and down. So Tuesday night it's supposed to rain. So I'm gonna try and get this seeded tomorrow, and then Tuesday night, tomorrow night, it's supposed to rain, and it's supposed to be some heavy rain. Okay, it's the thing on my phone says 100% chance of rain. So hopefully we get some rain, because we haven't had any rain. So if it's heavy, I'm gonna be out here in my rain suit. I'm gonna be watching this, and I'm gonna watch how this flows and make sure that it's flowing right before I go any further with it on Wednesday. So the plan would be, I got to bring this up a little bit here where this driveway is. This is kind of sunk where the driveway is. So if I fill that in with a little bit of sand and then put some of that stone on top, I think we'll be really good. I don't think it'll flood anymore, you know. I'll get back to you. If it rains, I'll be out here in the rain, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, guys, I got everything smoothed out. I kind of pulled back some of that. There was some gravel at the end of the driveway, and then once you got past where I put that culvert in, it's all sand after that. So I pulled back some of that gravel and flattened that out a little bit there at the end of the driveway. And we're gonna put some of that stone down after it rains and pack some of this down, some of the loose stuff. So I'm gonna throw some seed down here in the ditch and get that in there so that can start growing as soon as that rain hits tonight. And then I'm gonna take my drag over the top of it and kind of smooth it out. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. I brought some sand over right in the middle there to try and hump that a little more of the driveway there. I don't know if that's gonna help or not. I'm hoping we get a heavy enough rain tonight that I can come out and watch the water run and see where it all runs to. I mean, if not, I'd just work on it some more tomorrow, you know? So, all right. I'm gonna go get the seed and my seeder, and I'm gonna get back to you. All right, it's probably gonna get a little dusty here. That thing works way better pulling it on a chain like that than the way I had it hooked up on a tractor. You were very limited at where you could go with the tractor. You would have to stop, turn around, back into a spot, and then pull it back out. This lets you get around the trees better, everything. So if you're ever gonna make one, make it so you can put it on skis. I have skis on there. And I need to put a longer chain so it sits a little lower, but it worked fine for this because this is so soft. Put a chain on it and hook it onto your hitch and just let her go, you know. So I'm gonna go wait for rain, I guess, and hopefully we get some tonight. That's what we've been waiting for quite a while. So I'll be back. If it's pouring tonight, I'll be out here and I'll try and film some of that. So we're getting some much needed rain. You can see how it's traveling through the yard here. This is my normal river that runs through it. So let's go out here and look at the driveway and see what the driveway looks like. So right now, I have a little puddling right in here, which we can work with that. We can fill that in a little more and taper it off over here so it puddles over here, not right in the main driveway. They were talking about like really heavy rains today, but it hasn't amounted to enough to make a river flowing through it right over here. We got a little bit of a wet spot right here. I can fill that in some more. We definitely got a wet spot right here at the end. Not sure why that's happening, but I could take this and taper this off a little more so that the water flows off into the ditch. The water's definitely working its way down into the drain, the culvert. So normally all this water coming down this way used to go on top of the driveway. So obviously you can see there's an issue right there yet. I gotta fix that. I gotta make that run off. It can't stay there. Right at the moment, it doesn't look like anything's coming out this side, even though this side was lower. But it is filling with water. So you can't really see the water coming down from the hill here. This is a hill, and you can't really see the water coming down, but it is, and it's going where it needs to go. So we'll watch this. We'll come out a little later and double check this, but this right here is definitely a problem yet. Definitely got to fix this right here. Hey guys, welcome back. So last night we had a really good rain. It rained for over an hour, a real heavy rain. So the first part of the footage I had when it first started raining, and there were a couple little puddles here and there and whatever. So I came out an hour later and the whole ditch was full of water. It was running down to the culvert and under the culvert and down the road. And I found some problem areas, but for some reason I lost that footage. I don't know. I swear the camera was on the whole time I was out here in the rain, and all I got is a few clips, or whatever you want to call it, a few frames of me walking through the mud with my boots on. So I don't know what happened. You know, I really don't. This happens to me once in a while and I can't explain it. I don't know if the camera just shut off for some reason, and it's done that to me before, usually when it's really hot, but it wasn't hot last night. Usually when it's really hot, the camera will do weird stuff, or really cold, it'll do stuff like that where it just shuts off, and I don't know what happened. But anyhow, let's just kind of go over it here a little bit. So right behind me here, this was a big puddle, okay? You can kind of see how it washed the sand out, and it was trying to go that way, but it couldn't go that way. This is still too high. This right here along these pine trees is still too high. So I think what I need to do is I need to start right back here behind the camera almost, and dig this down just a little bit more, and then out into those other trees over there, and get it to go out that way. So this puddle right here, basically a big puddle, okay? Then the other issue was down at the end of the driveway down there. So let's go down there and take a look at that quick. So the thing with sand is, this sand is basically just like when you're at the beach. When it's wet, your feet just, you know, last night when I was walking out here, I was sinking in. I mean, I was literally just going whoosh, you know, with my feet. It was sinking in. It's that soft. And now this morning I'm standing here and you can hardly see where I'm walking, you know. So that's the issue with sand. The water was coming down the trail here, or down the ditch, and then right before it went into the culvert there's a high spot. So I got to knock that down a little bit right over in there. And then the other issue was starting about here and it went all the way over there. You can see how wet it is right there yet, the darker area. And then all the way over to here was a big puddle. And it wasn't flowing down into the ditch there. It wasn't coming across. It's basically coming off the road and coming down to the driveway, and then it puddles right there. So it would not go this direction over into this culvert over here or into the ditch. So I got to take that down. I got to lower that whole area there a little bit. All right. So those are my two main issues. What I'm thinking about doing is maybe putting a string right at the bottom of the blacktop there, and then running it over to one of the points up here where it's high, where I know I'm high and the water's not sitting, and then I can maybe see when I'm bringing the sand over, I can maybe see where I need to dump and bring it all up to the same level so that it you know, basically runs off the sides is what I'm trying to do. So you can kind of see that up there, how that's high there along them trees. So I got to knock that down a little bit somehow there so that water runs over that way. And other than that, it wasn't too bad. I mean, that ditch was full of water. I mean, it was a couple of inches of water sitting in that ditch right there, because it was damming up right here, and it wasn't quite flowing over that hump into the culvert. So yeah, a couple of areas here is all I gotta figure out and take care of, and then I should be able to put something down and put some of that rock on top. But yeah, it washed out pretty good. Sorry I did not get that footage for you. So we're gonna let this dry up today, because if I come in here with the tractor, I'm just gonna be sinking and making more ruts. So we're gonna let this dry up for a day, and tomorrow hopefully I can get back at it and this will dry up a little bit, and I can come and fix these couple of areas here with the backhoe and clean them up, and next time it rains the water should run just fine. Okay, all right, till then, later. So Barb's been on vacation this week, so while she was gone, and the driveway was all mud yesterday, so I figured I'd get another quick job done. She's been wanting this wall here closed up for a long time. This is a lean-to, and she keeps her potting, all her garden stuff underneath there. So she wanted this closed up so you can't see any of it from the road. So I figured I'd do that quick, and it turned out to be a good 4 or 5 hour project. But anyhow, that's another one crossed off the honey I don't want to do list. Okay, so we are going to get back to the driveway now. We got to go take a look at that. All right, so last night it dried up enough where I could drive on here, and I went over and I got all that sand. I don't know if you guys noticed it in some of my other videos, and it was there all winter. I had a pile of sand over there that I dug out of that hill, and I had it stacked up just for this reason, or you know, to fill in around the barn or wherever, you know. And I ended up bringing that entire pile over and putting it in the end of the driveway there to bring that up a little higher so that it's even with the road now, you know, or almost even with the road. And I tried making the middle higher so it's domed a little bit so the water should run off. So what I want to do now is I'm going to put down some plastic, and then I'm going to put that stone on top of it, and we're just going to do, I don't know, 25, 30 feet maybe, right about to where you see where that sand ends. I'm just going to do that end up there and see how it works. And if the rock just ends up pushing down into the mud, then I know we got bigger issues and we got to work on it some more. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to get the tractor going. I'm going to get the plastic down, and we're going to make this thing work sooner or later. So we threw some plastic down here. The plastic's going to help the water shed so it's not soaking into the sand below. Now there's a product out there called geotextile that you can buy. It's very expensive, Just to do this, probably to about where I'm standing, it was over $300. So in order to do this whole driveway that way, you'd be in the thousands of dollars just buying the geotextile stuff. So I'm electing not to do that. I'm just gonna put this plastic down. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, you know? I'm not spending a whole bunch of money on it. So I used this stuff around the barn, and it actually worked pretty good all winter. My sand did not wash away. That's underneath it, it shed the water. So as long as it's, the way I'm looking at it, as long as it stays there long enough that I can get a year or two under my belt, that this stuff hardens up and kind of I get the water trained to go a different way, I think I'll be fine after that, you know? And I can't stop the monsoon rains when you get those big flooding rains. It's something that's going to happen to everybody. You watch all the guys on YouTube, they've all had it where their yards washed out after they did all this work and stuff. And it's one of them things you can't stop. For our normal rains, I think this will work pretty good, okay? So we're going to dump this stone on there, and then we'll add one or two more pieces. And then once I get back here to the camera, then I got to start bringing in some more sand yet. I think that's looking pretty good. So we'll rake it out a little bit here, smooth it over into the corners there and stuff, and we'll be ready for the next piece. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna put down another piece, and then we'll fill that up, and then we'll drive over it a little bit and kind of push the stuff around and see how it feels. So I'm gonna leave it this way probably until fall. We'll see how it does the rest of the summer with the rains. I'll be out here every time it rains watching the water flow and that type of stuff. So we'll see what it ends up like in fall, and well, if we need to make some changes before then, we'll make some changes before then, you know. As far as plowing goes, plowing the snow, once that first layer of snow gets on there and that all turns to ice, it shouldn't be an issue, you know. And I got that grass saver bar on my plow, which I intend to work on again this fall and put a bigger pipe on there instead of that small pipe I put on. I want to try a bigger pipe and see if it works a little better with the bigger pipe. So I don't think any of that will be an issue. So we're going to get another piece of plastic and some more stone down, and we're going to keep going on this. It's looking pretty good. I think one more piece of plastic, and then that'll be it for today. And we'll wait till the next rain so I can see how the rest of this flows, how the water is going to flow here. Because I didn't show you this, but I started yesterday afternoon. I started to trench over here on that. Right, I went kind of right under them trees because we don't mow that there anyhow. So as long as we can mow it to the bottom of the ramp, that'll be fine. And I'm bringing it over this way and trying to get it to go into these trees here. So that to me is the low spot through there. So from there we'll have to figure out how to get it to go out into the ditch, you know. Not sure on that one yet. I gotta watch where the water goes. That's the only way it's the best way to tell. You know, I can bring the transit out and do all kinds of numbers, but until you see how that water runs, it's not the best way to do it. For me, I gotta see the water running. I'm gonna get one more piece of plastic down and then we'll see what it looks like. So I mainly wanted to get this end done with the culvert and stuff so that none of that washes away. So now the rest of this here, I gotta bring in some more sand and just kind of keep filling in, keep working on the water drainage. And I will probably do another video in a couple weeks, next time it rains real heavy, whenever, just to show you what's happening here. And we'll keep working on it. I want to get the backhoe off and put the box blade back on, because that works much better for smoothing that stuff out over there. I just bucket, one, my loader is a little bent, so it's not much, it's just, you know, off a little bit. The bucket's bent in the middle, it's lower in the middle than it is on the corners. So all of that adds up to where you can't scrape real good. And you'll be going along just fine, and all of a sudden it'll dig in and just make a big hump, you know. So it's much better with the box blade to do that type of stuff. So I'm gonna haul some sand and get it in here, and then I'm probably gonna switch, get that backhoe off and switch and put the box blade back on and do some grading and stuff. And then the next time it rains, we'll see what happens, and then we'll start bringing the rest of the stone in. So until then, you know, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.